Hello everyone, today is another beautiful day and I've come to give you some immigration updates. Well, today I'm going to be talking about 4 common ways to migrate to Canada, and I will be talking about this in 4 minutes, okay? So number 1 way to immigrate to Canada is through express entry from outside Canada, and this is called Federal Skilled Workers Program, FSWP. So if you want to migrate to Canada, one of the ways you have to consider is express entry, and there are minimum eligibility criteria, and this is minimum of 1 year experience, and minimum education is required, either bachelor's degree or secondary school degree, and you also need minimum English or French language performance. Once you're eligible, you are able to create an express entry profile. Well, Canada draw a pool from the express entry profile, cutting the top scores and inviting them to apply for permanent residency. So when you create an express entry profile, they ask you questions about your education, your age, your spouse, your work experience, language proficiency, and you will get points for each of these. So if you get a high score, you can come to Canada through permanent residency. All of these things will determine if you are going to be part of those who will be selected. Well, if you come to Canada through permanent residency, it has a huge advantage because you will be able to get a lot of things free, for example, education for your children, Medicare, and a whole lot of things. And again, if you come through permanent residency, you're not obligated to stay in Canada. You can just come into Canada and leave Canada, unlike someone who does not come through permanent residency. Number 2 way to come to Canada is through study, then work, and express entry. What does this mean? It means first you come to study, then you work, and you gain the time and qualification for you to apply for express entry. Let me explain this. If you want to come to Canada to study, by the way, Canada has one of the top and best universities in the world, so Canada is a good choice for study. So you can take a 2 years course to study in Canada, and this will enable you to get a 3 years postgraduate work permit. So this means that if you study in Canada, you can be able to work for 20 hours per week, and when you have finished your study, when you have completed your education, you will get 3 years postgraduate work permit, making it a total of 5 years for you to stay in Canada. And by the end or before the end of this, you will be qualified for express entry. So this is another beautiful way and easy way to move to Canada. The 3rd way to move to Canada is by applying for work permit. Then you apply for an express entry. So this means that you first find a job in Canada, then you apply for a work permit, and after then you apply for express entry when you've gained sufficient time and experience in Canada. For an employer to employ you to come to Canada, he will be needing LMIA, which is the Labor Market Impact Assessment. So that means before you can move to Canada in the first place to work, your employer will be applying for LMIA. He has to pay for it, and this is for him to prove that there is no permanent resident in Canada who is willing to take up this job. Well, this will cost him some time and money, but apart from there are a few persons who have exemption. Maybe if you work in a large company and you want to transfer to Canada, you may be allowed to work in Canada based on transfer. Okay, then another way for you to come to Canada, and the 4th way, is through Provincial Nominee Program, which is called PNP. There are 10 provinces in Canada, and each of these provinces have their own criteria, okay? And this requires you to have some experience or some ties in most of the provinces, like education, like siblings, like work experience in that province, and that will become your ties for you to come to that province. If you don't have any of this, it may become problematic for some of the provinces, but for some provinces, they do not need any tie, and once you meet their criteria, you become eligible to apply. Well, if you apply to come to Canada, you are going to gain 600 points. So this means that this province will be sponsoring you, and you can come through the express entry and become a permanent resident in Canada. Guys, this is the way to come to Canada. These are the 4 ways to come to Canada. and I've just summarized it in 4 minutes plus. So I wish you the best of luck, but then I wish you try this. Please do not forget to subscribe to our video. Don't forget to keep up with us, because we'll be rolling out more beautiful information to you. As concise as they are rich and they are helpful, and I hope you will make use of it. Have a nice day.